welcome back to Shit They Don't Tell You. I'm Nikki Limo.
Hello, buddy. What's up? It's Ace.
And this actually will be the last episode of the year for us. We're going to have 2 more episodes, one next week and one the week after, but they will be reruns from a long time ago, 3 years ago. Maybe some of you haven't heard them yet. There are 2 of our favorite episodes that we just feel like you could use a little bit more love. And also, if you are spending time with your family or friends during the holidays and you're like, I don't want to listen to podcasts. Well, this is just, it's a reruns.
The truth is we don't trust you.
We don't trust you.
We don't think you're going to actually tune in.
And we don't want to prepare our heart and soul into some new episodes for the end of the year if you are not going to tune into them.
There's just not enough trust here. And so until you've established that trust with us, we just can't.
No, but honestly, I get requests all the time for topics that we have already covered in the first year of Shit They Don't Tell You. And so I feel like these will be very helpful for you if you have not seen them or heard them yet. And so I hope you enjoy them. But that's not this episode. This episode, I thought, because it's the last year that we're doing the last episode that we're doing of 2021, which, by the way, I can't believe we're at the end of 2021. I feel like it went in the blink of an eye, right? But I also feel like I am so wildly different, both internally and externally. Like my world is completely different than it was at the beginning of 2021 or at the end of 2020. Same. So I wanted to just kind of examine the year, and a lot of why this show was created was like to talk about shit they don't tell you, right? Like shit that we wish that we would have known, whether it be finance or investing or relationships or whatever, and then kind of like reiterate it to people after we learned it so that people don't make the same mistakes as us.
Yes.
And sometimes on our show, Shit They Don't Tell You After Dark, which is the bonus episode that goes on our Patreon, patreon.com/sticky, if you're interested, we do a monthly episode where we talk about shit that we wish people would have told us that we're going through right now that we haven't processed yet. So I thought we could like kind of recap some of the stuff in 2021 that like was some shit they don't tell you moments, Maybe we could start with like what your favorite moments of 2021 was. And why.
It's so unfair because I have a recency bias.
Yeah, true. Same.
I have a severe recency bias. But, moving into this house that we're in right now is my favorite moment of 2021.
Absolutely. Same.
Well, it's my favorite physical moment of 2021.
Cryptocurrency moment.
Yeah, crypto is my favorite moment of 2021 for sure.
There you go.
Especially the way that the beginning of the year started, where, if you remember, my favorite coin at the time, OMG, had gotten sold in December. This other company was coming in, and I was like, holy shit. I can't
believe that was a year ago, by the way.
It was a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a year ago. And I remember telling Nikki, I was like, and this is all just being completely honest with everybody. I was like, man, I've done this for so long. Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Because I was so sure about this as a hold. Like, I couldn't even begin to tell you. I mean, anybody who's listened to Shit They Don't Tell You After Dark, even for like 2 years, knows that I was like obsessed with this token particularly. But coming into this year, I was like, man, this, they sold it. I was like, this changes everything. And I had COVID at the time too.
Right.
And so
you had a lot of time alone to think.
I had a lot of time alone to like really just go over my move on this one. And then once I decided to part ways with it, it was almost like I was parting ways with an ex that had treated me like ill for years, even though it worked out great. Like I did not lose money on it. But as soon as I knew to sell it, I knew what to do next. I knew where to move my money every time. So like I did it like moved into this coin called SNX, moved into this coin called AAVE. Like every move I made money off of.
Yeah.
Like instantly. Like so like it's just so funny because
it's like everything you learn compounded into this year.
Yes.
Where the fog clears and like the moves become easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like it's like I'm in 2000 and like fucking 5 again when I had an improv breakthrough.
Yes,
and like
exactly.
I could just see all the.
That's exactly what it seems like to me.
I could see it, and like the rules just melt away, and I'm like, oh, I just see it for what it is.
Yes, every like really good improviser has that moment where it's like you're just hitting a wall, and then all of a sudden you break through that wall, And I think that I saw that happen with you with crypto. Like you were good before, you knew things before, you made some good calls, but this year you really hit a stride where you just, it seems like magic to people watching because they haven't like reached that level yet. You know, it's just like any art form, any skill, any craft, anything. When you reach a certain point, all of a sudden you're doing what comes naturally to you because you've been working at it so long. But to an outsider, it's like, oh my God, that's like magic.
Yeah. And but the best thing too is that I have, I think, the best support system of anybody ever. Like I have my little brother, Ken. I have my buddies that I've been with since all this hell started, like all the hell of the bear market started. And we've all just had each other's backs like nothing else. I've had my wife, yes, no question, who had my back. I have to say at the darkest moment.
I feel like I had the power in my hands to be like, you should quit forever, and you would have.
You did, yeah, you did.
And I do that? Did I
you
say
did not.
any of that?
You actually gave me faith. You gave me a little spark of faith in the moment where I needed it the most, for sure. But
so that's pretty cool. It's pretty sick.
Yeah,
pretty sick wife.
And there's no but there. That is what I want to say. But I have to love.
Yeah, you have a really good community.
My boys, especially. Well, even before Crypto Corner, which became like, I mean, dude, I can't even begin to tell you about the Crypto Corner people. I love these people. These are the best people you'll find on the internet. But my boys, who I got into OMG with, brothers for life. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget them for the rest of my life. I love every one of those guys because we had each other's backs when nobody had ours, and we had the faith when everyone thought that we were doomed. And we just all knew together that we would make it, and we all did. And it just feels so good to say that.
Yeah.
It feels good to be on this side.
On the other side, yeah.
Because I was on the other side of it for a long time saying, I know we're going to make it, but now I'm on the side where we did make it.
Yeah.
And it just is unbelievable that we did. Because like we actually did pull it off, boys. Like I love all you boys.
That's so rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in that way, that's how I feel about buying this house too, because the house stuff has always been kind of my jam of like research and finding, figuring out how much things cost in that area, finding the neighborhoods, finding all that stuff. And when we got our condo, it was, I felt like it was we found a pretty good deal. And then we did, like when we sold it, it made, it was the right timing in the market for everything. The housing market is booming everywhere. It's, it could be a bubble. We don't know, whatever. But my point is, at the beginning of this year, we were already looking in Vegas, and we thought we found our dream home. It was actually in this neighborhood, but it was like one of the neighborhoods right over there.
Really close.
Yeah. And it was for $100,000 cheaper than it was by the time we started buying the property.
Starting to take it seriously.
Yeah. And things in the middle, in the interim, when we were looking in the summertime, so that was in February that we found that house, we passed on it. I thought prices would come down. I thought that like people were saying, oh, we're in a bubble, it's going to come down this year or whatever. Then it didn't. It skyrocketed. And then Vegas was even crazier than LA in some regards because we flew out here in the summertime to go look at houses, and every single one I put on my list to look at, which had just been listed that day, was gone the next day. It was all under contract the very next day. We didn't even get a chance to look at them. So they were going within a day. And so I was like, man, like I really thought we were going to move to Vegas this year, but I just don't see how. Like there's like no way to like put an offer in time, and we would have to sell our condo first and all this stuff. And then the market started slowing down, and like we actually got in at the right time, because then after we got this place, there was nothing like it again. Yep. And when I look back on everything, I'm glad that we missed out on that other place, because I actually like this place way more.
I like it way more. I like the neighborhood so much more. Mm-hmm. I like the bones of this place way more.
Way more.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, and the neighbors are super friendly. I got to meet some of them today, and they're all just like, it's like a community. It's really cool. And then it's really close to my favorite casino. And I just feel like we're living in a dream right now. So yeah, I do have a recency bias as well. Yeah. But I feel like the following your gut thing is and waiting for the right timing. Because, we seemed like we were on the fence for a while. If you've been listening to anything that we've been on, whether it's podcast or Big Mood or vlogs or JK or whatever, we're always like, okay, we're moving. Okay, maybe we're not moving. Okay, maybe we're staying. Maybe we're cool with staying. And that was like following the not forcing it rule, which we have like we want something, you have a goal in mind, but if you try to force it, I'm not talking about putting action towards it. I'm just talking about like trying to force something that it's not fitting right now. It's just not supposed to happen at that time then. And so waiting for the right time when we both felt like we got to go now. Like we both felt it at the same exact time where we were like, we're ready to list our condo. Because before I didn't want to list the condo before we found
and we were the same
place.
We would sit in the hot tub and we would be ambivalent, but then it just happened the same moment with each other.
It was like the magic in LA just died for us at the same moment. And I can't explain it, but we were both very intuitive.
We were in traffic heading to the Ace Casino.
No, it's
or
not.
the Bicycle Casino.
It's called the Hustler.
The Hustle Casino. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I don't know ever where I am.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, I don't like LA anymore.
Yeah, we used to drive through LA, and even in traffic, I'd look at all the buildings and I'd be like, oh, I love it here still.
Same.
And the sun reflecting off of the buildings. And I'm just like, there's just a magic in the air. There's like a hustle to it. There's an energy to it. And it just felt gone.
And the energy I used to feel even when I was in San Diego, Santa Barbara, wherever we went, I was like, I miss home. I miss LA.
Yeah. And when we passed the city
we'd
borderline,
be like,
oh yeah, we love being here.
And then we
love the city. We love this fucking city. Sometimes we would just say that out loud. We'd be like, well, I love this fucking city. Yep. And then we just didn't love that city anymore. And it's weird how that changed. And a lot of people had the same sentiment. And I'm not knocking LA just because I'm gone now, like it's an ex or whatever. But it did kind of feel like we were in a toxic relationship with
definitely.
And then now we're free and we're like, oh shit, it wasn't as like she wasn't as pretty as I thought she was before.
No, she wasn't very nice.
Yeah, she was kind of a bitch.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyway, what is the biggest thing you learned this year, you think?
Believe it or not, and this is a crazy maybe sounding thing because of what's happened to me this year, but being humble in the face of, because, famously, I talk about this all the time. I at one point had 800 Ethereum.
Uh-huh.
It's like $4 million right now.
Yeah.
But if you're humble in the face of the market and you recognize that you don't know everything about the market, right? But you know how to win inside of the market, like while giving that away, like going like, hey, I don't know at all. I fucked up here, but I think I learned from that big time.
Yeah.
And like, so thankfully, because of that, I now know to do this. And it's worked out great.
Exactly.
Like amazingly great. But like, if I didn't go through that,
then you wouldn't have known or appreciated
and I think and this is maybe coping, right? I understand. If anyone listening is just like, he's coping, I get it. But really, honestly, I really do mean this. Because I know people, like my buddy, Bart, knows people who are like, hey, if you buy Bitcoin, you buy Ethereum, and you just wait, that's where I made all my money, you just fucking sit there. But I have killed those guys in the ratios.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm more interested in crypto than those guys, because those guys got richer than me.
Yeah, it's like if you're in the stock market and you don't want to do all the research of each individual business and you just want to, let your money, and you just invest in an index, or you invest in the market, and you just like you get the 10% on average returns on every year.
It's totally fine. It's great, but it's not, it's not the best way to win.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like.
Yeah, because if you're it's not the best way to build wealth and get rich if you aren't already rich. Like if you're just looking for a way to kind of hold your money and beat inflation, then sure, like you can invest in the market because inflation's above 6% right now.
But I have to say, like I had 800 Ethereum at one point, but thanks to my moves, I could potentially get it back in the ratios.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm agreeing with you.
No,
I'm just helping on explain it further.
But that's what's so beautiful about the moves that I made, and not thinking that like, okay, I have to do the traditional thing, which by the way, it's optional for anybody. I actually recommend it. If you're new to my crypto corner thing, I'm always like, hey, get the tripod, get Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Smart Coin, like or BNB. and like just chill. But like, you know, if you want to be more aggressive, there are other moves to make that I way more am into, and that's like what I've done, and it's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I'm thankful for, that I didn't get lazy because I got rich. I'm glad that I'm glad that I had to wait to get rich, because I am able to communicate the space so much better than I could have if I was just lazy.
Totally. That's actually the thing that I was trying to tell our Discord on Patreon, because you were doing Crypto Corner and they're like, oh, Nikki, you should do a stock corner or a stock talk. And I was like, this is going to sound really stupid, but I don't feel like I'm ready to do that, or like to give any sort of like thorough financial advice in that area, because I haven't really lost yet. And they're like, oh, that's a
so true.
You know, good problem to have. And I was like, no, it's actually, I wish I had some mistakes, because I don't know what I don't know yet. And
true.
And I at least know where I am in that regard, that like, I know there's stuff that I don't know yet, and I won't know it until it happens. Yep. And then I can learn from it. And so I don't feel comfortable being cocky, being like, this is what you gotta do. And then that's not, and I don't really know what I'm saying, because I haven't hit a downside yet.
Yep.
You know? So yeah, I'm learning more about the space. Maybe I could do it without making big mistakes. I don't know.
But this is why if Nikki tells you something, it really is great, because Nikki really does not fuck around. Like, she won't bullshit you ever.
Yeah, I'm actually very big on I've been called stupid many times because of falling on my face, but I don't mind falling on my face. And I've said this many times, and I don't know if anyone believes me, but that whole failing forward thing, I have learned so much more from the mistakes that I've made, from falling on my fucking face, from looking like an idiot, than I have from like cruising and being cool, you know? And I wish more people would be okay with that, with making mistakes, and knowing that you get such a richer education from that, from making mistakes, than you do from like trying to, you know, be safe about everything and not take too many risks, and because what if this happens? Like, you don't learn that way. No. I've never
heard of anybody who won that way.
No success, like super successful person I know that's never made a mistake.
I was really careful.
Yeah.
And it's not that being reckless is helpful either.
No, it's just it's calculated risk.
Yes.
Is what it is. Yes. And just knowing the boundaries and your limits, and the way to know your limits. It's just like when you first got drunk. I don't know if you've ever been drunk, listener, but the first time I ever got drunk, I was 15, and I didn't know how much got you drunk. And I didn't know what being drunk felt like enough to know when I've had enough to drink and that I'm drunk enough. Yep. So I drank a water bottle full of vodka, pure vodka, straight up vodka.
Oh, no.
And you know me.
You're lightweight.
I'm so lightweight. Like literally a shot of vodka will have me wrecked for the night.
2 shots of wine, she's over. It's over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little, like half, not even a half glass of wine.
For real.
Done.
She's
so
toast.
Me at 15, we just like, we got alcohol. We scored some alcohol. And so I got a water bottle, like a Crystal Springs water bottle. And my friend got a water bottle, and we chugged it.
No.
Worst fucking night of my life.
Yeah. You never liked vodka anyway.
Oh, yeah. But I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
And the next time I drank vodka, I did not drink a fucking water bottle full. Yeah. I drank like 2 shots, saw how that affected me first. And I was like, okay, I think this is actually kind of enough. And then I tried 1 shot the next time, you know, and then you find your boundaries, and you know, and now I know if I take more than like a shot and a half of vodka, I'm in for a wild ride. Over. Yeah, but I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't fucked up, you know, and I'm not saying everyone needs to fuck up to learn that, but that's just an example of one mistake where it's like, oh, I feel like shit, and now I'm never going to do that again.
Yes.
And I think that fuck perfect is why I think that message resonates so much with me, because if you're just trying to do everything perfectly and color within the lines, you'll never really know how to make your own art.
Thank you for that segue. That reminds me, another thing I learned in 2021 is actually, huge kudos to Nikki. She actually started Crypto Corner. So like I was circling how to do this for a long time. Because I was like, man, I love this shit. Nikki knows how much I love it. I was like, I want to do a crypto show, but I want to do it right. I want to do it well and all this shit. And one day Nikki just fucking took her camera and she walked to my office and she's like, we're doing your show right now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, we're just doing it. Fuck you. We're doing it. And then she fired up the camera and she knows how I am when you turn something on and you put the red button on. And then she's like, all right, tell me about the cryptos. And then I just launched.
Yeah.
And that's what made me go, oh, this isn't something that I have to overthink. Which, you know, it's like taking your own advice in a way, because I remember sitting there for many VidCon panels and people were like, how do I start a YouTube channel? I'm like, just fucking start. Who gives a shit? But then, like, you're not taking your own advice always. Like, you're trying to be like this person that everyone sees and it goes like, well, he started something before, so you want to do something like of a different caliber.
You're comparing to yourself to yourself.
Of course.
You set a standard,
of course,
for the type of content.
And that was the worst thing for me, because I wasn't just starting things. I was just like waiting to start things. So then once I just started it, thanks to you, it was just easy. And after that, I remember even like, because I remember at the time, like I told Nikki, I was like, I'm going to do this every week. And she's like, well, I don't know. He's going to do it every week, everybody, but we'll see.
Consistency hasn't been exactly in his track record.
Wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, because it was hard for me to like actually
do it without a producer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Without a team.
Well, that's when you changed it to live streaming.
And that was beautiful for me.
Yeah.
And thanks to my buddy Joe Zakawa, like doing live streams was something that was like in the back of my head, because I had just done them like within
technical
like 6 months. Yeah. So it was just kismet. Everything came together well, and it was perfect. Yeah,
the timing of things. Yes. I felt like a lot of this year was things happening and being like, oh, that's why that one thing had to happen, for this thing to happen, for me to have this moment right now, which is better than any moment I could have ever conjured had I been trying to force it or try, made it happen.
Exactly.
The biggest thing for me that I've learned this year is, kind of opposite to what you just said, but was to chill more.
Oh, yeah.
Because ever since you've ever known me, I am a ball of anxiety. Yes. I put way too many things on my plate, and then I think I have to keep up with all of them, and I get really scared to drop any ball, and I just have a lot of panic attacks, and I just think, well, if I lose this, then everything will fall apart. And I just think, like, if I let one ball drop, then everything's going to fall apart. Well, last year, Google twice in the year, which they do this like every 2 years usually, but this happened like multiple times last year where it just messed with my channel. This channel right now, youtube.com/Nikki Limo, that I've been, working on forever. Every couple years, they just come in with a wrecking ball and something destroys it. And I'm not talking like everyone complains about the algorithm, right? But like you see a slow trickle with that, usually with channels complaining about their views dropping. This was like they took a sledgehammer and like a show like Tasty Tuesday that would consistently get not crazy amounts of views, but like 40,000 a week, like consistently on average. All of a sudden, one day gets cut down to 15,000 and it never goes back up. And it's not just a gradual decline, which I could understand. And then I could kind of play with and maybe adjust some things, and like maybe people aren't interested in this anymore. But no, this was just like a
boom,
like just
sliced.
Week, boom, bye. And it happened so many times that I just stopped. I just stopped creating content on this channel, except for this podcast, because at the time we had a contract to continue videos on this channel with the podcast, which thank God, because I wouldn't have continued anything. True. I would have just stopped uploading period on this channel because I was so frustrated and upset. And I continued on my vlog channel, youtube.com/Nikki, but it's just vlogs. It's not edited content. It's not like really super edited content or the things that I was doing before. I like it. It's very freeing. But I was scared because I had done Tasty Tuesday for 5 years and I didn't know myself without, fretting about what to do to make that week, and like Sundays and making sure I have all the ingredients, and I had an editor on Tasty Tuesday and making sure she got the footage and making sure just everything was okay with Tasty Tuesday, and then the other formats we were doing Sticky Show, we were doing a lot of things, and it just felt like I let go 1 week, and then it went into 2 weeks and then 3 weeks, and then I just kept letting go, and I was like, I don't know what is supposed to happen. Maybe I'm fucking up like crazy. Maybe this is just like going to ruin everything, because that's the fear I always have in my head, that if I let the ball drop on one thing, that everything's going to get ruined. But But yeah, so it just kept going, and I found new interests and new passions, and I started exploring those, and I'm thankful that I had that extra time, and it just felt freeing to explore something, not because I had to do it or I felt like I had to do it, but just because I wanted to do it, like how it originally started.
Yeah.
You know, originally making YouTube content, it's like you just want to do it. You don't care about anything else. Like, and it's not that I really cared about, oh, I have to have this many views or this much money or AdSense or whatever. It was just more about like, I'm pissed that the people that subscribe just aren't getting it. And I would get so many comments like, I got unsubscribed to you. I'm not getting your videos anymore in my feed. Like, just all this really frustrating stuff that it's hard to maintain consistency or be motivated to be consistent or do something every week when you have no control over something random like that happening. And so if I'm going to have no control over it, then I just want to do something that I'm very passionate about. And so I just started working on a few things like our podcast, Big Mood, and then my vlog channel, which was super easy because it was just vlogging my daily life and like hardly editing it. It was like it's a pretty raw view of that. I do like picking out the music for that. But other than that, there's just really like random cuts of my life. And then because I had like more freedom, I started getting into poker. I restarted my jewelry line. Launching my jewelry line was one of the best things that happened to me this year too. That was something I really wanted to do for years now since it got cut off in 2019. And I didn't know how, and I didn't have time to learn how or try to figure out how. And then I did all of a sudden have time to figure out how. And then we did it, and it felt so good. It felt so good to just do something that I just really wanted to do, and without knowing where it was going to end up or if anyone was interested like anymore. People had been saying they were, but I didn't know if anyone still cared or wanted to know about it. So yeah, it was just a lot of like new and just taking like leaps of faith and like letting go and like having trust, which was always so hard for me. Like letting go of control is really hard for me.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this year, I felt like I just did that for the first time ever. And it's worked out great. Like things are just like things flow to you more when you let them rather than trying to force it, like I was talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like I've gotten more in touch with intuitively doing something now rather than feeling like, oh, I have to because like these are the rules and this is what it says and this is what you should do and like robotic about it. It's like, oh, I kind of feel like this is where I've been being pulled. And then that is where I'm supposed to be going.
I think so.
Yeah. So it's like I got a little bit of you and you got a little bit of me this year.
For sure.
And on that note, we're going to go on a break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about some more shit they don't tell you that we learned in 2021. Okay, do you know why free trials renew without your consent? It is a business scam to get you. Don't let greedy corporations pocket your money. Download Truebill to take control of your subscriptions. Truebill is actually super, super helpful. I actually I'm so mad that I didn't download this sooner because I just repaid for an annual subscription. It was like $60 off this service that I don't even use anymore. I have not used it for a year and I don't plan on using it ever again. And I just forgot that I have it. And there's so many of those, especially when they do the annual subscriptions.
Yes.
And you don't remember after a year. So yeah, and then they always have a clause in there that's like, you can't cancel if you already renewed. And
Dude, years ago when I first moved to LA, like I lived in the Oakwood Apartments, which is like this cool place where actors live.
Yeah.
And I remember I got this like insurance policy while I was living at this place. And it was like, I don't know, like $30 a month or something like that. Years later, I realized, why am I getting this charge? And if I had a Truebill, I wouldn't have even paid for it.
Yeah.
Instead, I spent like $1,600 on this freaking charge for years. And then when I called them and I was like, hey, give me my money, they were like, take us to court. Because it's like Nikki said, their business model.
It's like basically it's a contract that you sign.
Yep.
When
it's
you
part of their business model. They want you to forget about it. They want you to just pay it forever.
So annoying. Yep. That's how gyms work too.
Dude, and they even disguise the bill a little bit so you don't just exactly know what it is. It's always something weird.
Especially if you get it through iTunes or something like Apple or something.
Yep.
Oh, it's so
So
annoying.
frustrating. Anyways, this is why we cannot recommend a service like this
People
enough.
have saved hundreds with Truebill just because of all the subscriptions you forget. Or, if your ex is still using your Netflix or, you canceled something and they're still using it.
On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at truebill.com/STDTY. Go right now, truebill.com/STDTY. It could save you thousands a year.
Truebill.com/STDTY.
Hello, and we're back, and we're going to talk about more things that we learned in 2021 or whatever. We're just recapping 2021, that some shit they don't tell you that we think that they should tell you, that we just found out that they should tell you.
We didn't necessarily
This is
just
a cool
find out.
segue. It's a cool segue, Nikki.
Not that good of a segue, but fine.
Very
We'll
cool
take it.
segue, Nikki.
We'll take it.
So what would you say is something that happened this year, like that you thought maybe wasn't a good thing that happened this year? Like, was there any like worst moments that ended up being okay? Because
Recently, and it sucks, but yeah, our family dog passed away. It was sad. It was very sad. Our dog,
so like,
Toby.
are you learning about dealing with loss? Or?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
I have been so spoiled with loss that
Yeah.
I lost my grandfather. Like that was like fucking 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this one was tough for me, especially because I really didn't have anybody to talk to about it.
I think about that a lot too, because same, like I feel like we've had the same amount of death experience and very fortunate and very grateful for that. But also like, man, it's going to be a slap in the face, like when it actually.
The roughness.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Toby happening that's.
And you knew Toby. So
Yeah.
Toby was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it just caught me by surprise. It was just one of those things where, like, if you told me about it, like in the abstract, like, oh, hey, a year from now, like that dog will pass away, it would have been a different thing. But like the fact that it happened the way it did, like as soon as it did.
Because like, did you even know there was anything wrong?
No.
Yeah.
No. But that dog always was doing stupid shit.
Yeah, he was.
So
He was like eating socks and stuff.
Yeah, he's eating fucking my mom's socks.
He had to go
and
through
shit.
like 4 surgeries for these socks.
Exactly. We had to spend thousands of dollars on surgeries for that fucking dog. But he was the best, man. For some reason, that dog, when you were there with him, you saw this, but when you were there with him, and this may be some stupid animal people shit, but he could like just jump on your shoulders and like stare in your eyes, and you felt like you were like communicating with a human from like another time. Or something. Like he was just that
like
way.
Yoda.
Yeah, he was just that way. He was very deep in a weird way. So yeah, he was, I don't know. I really bonded with that dog. And I remember there was even a time where my family thought about having to not have him. And I was like, I'll take Toby. Even if I have to move, I'd take Toby. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. And it's probably, this is really just probably more about me being afraid about something next happening than just Toby. But I love that dog so much. And I guess I'm terrified of like losing a real deal family member.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually went through that in therapy this year about like I hadn't even lost anything yet. Like, but it was the fact that I hadn't that was freaking me out. That like I think one of my friends had a relative that passed away, and it made me just start thinking about how like that's inevitably going to happen, and how like I don't feel equipped to deal with that. Like I don't know how to, I can't even process it, at all. And of course you start thinking about the ones that'll probably go first, and then you're just like, fuck. And then like, what if something freak happens to like you or some, and I just started having panic attacks, and I was talking to my therapist about it. I think I might have talked about an episode of this, or maybe it was Shit They Don't Tell You After Dark, but about like how to deal with loss, one, but also like I haven't even lost anyone yet, and how do I deal with these intrusive thoughts, basically, of like thinking about people I love dying. And it was like, it started out as nostalgia, but then it went into like how fast time goes, and how like when I think about the 90s, or I'm listening to 90s music, feels like it was like 5 years ago or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm jamming and I'm feeling good. And like, I just really resonate with 90s music. And then I realized it was 30 years ago. And I'm like, holy shit. Like time goes so fast.
Like NSYNC's about to be 60.
That's So I can't, it's hard for me to cope with that like, if that went by that fast, then another 30 years is going to go by just as fast, like in the blink of an eye. And time seems to only go faster. Like we're already at the end of 2021 and I can't even believe it. And it seems to only go faster. And I just started thinking about that. And my therapist was like, just started having like this deep conversation about life and death and like asking me, you know, what I feel like happens at the end. Like, what are my beliefs? Like, do I think that it's just blackout forever? Or do I think that spirit lives on? Do I think that there's heaven and hell? Like, what do I think? And I was like, obviously no one knows, but I'd like to think that you know, that we're all, I feel like we're all connected. Like all of our energies are connected. I already feel like that, even to plants and just everything. Like I feel like we're all connected. So I'd like to think that this is just your physical form for now, but there's something else in there that lives on. And like, it goes back to source energy. You know, some sort of like you join the whole and then maybe you reincarnate. Maybe it goes into your energy goes somewhere else. I don't really know what happens, but I don't think it's just like being a human is the only thing ever. Like, and then you die and that's it. And that's the end of you. I think there's something that your energy goes to. And so then she started talking about, cause like she asked if I had ever lost anyone. And I was like, well, my grandma, but you know, she had Alzheimer's. So I kind of like was letting her go over time. And it was less of a rug pull situation like you're talking about. But as I'm talking about her, I'm like missing her. I'm getting watery eyed and, you know, and like I'm animated about the things I loved about her. And she's like, I think you're really connected. I can hear through your voice that you're super connected to your grandma. You seem like you have a lot of similarities. You're into similar stuff. And I was like, that's true. You know, like of the family, like me and her loved being entertainers.
You're free spirits.
Yeah. No one else in my family is like an entertainer.
No way. I actually, to give me some credit, I put that together.
You did. Yeah. But she put together the dying part. Like, so you made the similarity, like, oh, you really like your grandma in a lot of ways. Because I never thought of myself as her because there was a lot of ways we were very different.
Yeah, for sure.
But the free spirit aspect, yeah. And so then she goes, you know, so it's like, have you ever had a rose bush? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, the roses, they die. Like they're meant to die. They grow, they're beautiful, they flourish, and then they die. And they're all going to die. But the bush lives on. And the next year there's beautiful roses again. And she's like, what if your grandma lives on through you? Because you obviously took a lot from her and now you have it in you. And like a lot of her personality traits shine through you. And I was like, that's so true. Like I do think that certain personality traits are genetic, that you're just like, some is nurture versus nature, but you know, I think a lot of it is genetic. And yeah, I am a lot like a lot of her.
Yes.
I got a piece of her.
Yes.
And then it just made me think of death a lot differently. Not that I am looking forward to any of it, and not that I even know if I could cope better with it, but just having that little tool in my belt, at least I feel like that helps a little bit.
Yeah, because I know that, like, you know, my grandfather, Lieutenant Colonel Richard P. Miller, is one of the greatest men of all time. I absolutely love this man, and everyone in my family knows that I really like idolize the guy. I think that he's the person who knew it the least.
Yeah,
and that's what's so ironic about it, is because he was very reserved.
Yeah, hard to get to know.
Hard to get to know. You knew him.
Yeah,
hard to get to know. Hard to talk to. He was very like. Had his routine, and like if you got in the middle of his routine, maybe you had a chance, but he was going to do his own thing anyway, which I respected a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was it's great. It's great to have somebody like him in your life though that you can take strength from. Because like anytime that I'm ever in a moment like with Toby dying or anything, or where I feel alone, like I feel truly alone or whatever, I can look at him and go, dude, I got this. I'm related to fucking Richard P. Miller.
Yeah.
And it really does help a lot.
Yeah. So you got that from him.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like when you talk about things you admire about somebody that passed, or, I mean, even someone that's living, like you're like just you taking that away from them, like that, from that experience with them. It's like they contributed that, and that part of them lives on. And even like your favorite entertainers, like even Norm Macdonald passing,
Brutal.
it's like there's so much that
for sure.
we gained from his presence on Earth, and even listening to him or laughing at his stuff, that so many entertainers took from that.
Oh, yeah.
And that I do believe that stuff lives on. Like that's kind of like a legacy that lives on, and you can feel it, and it's like embodied by people now.
For sure.
Yeah, so that was really interesting to learn.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
I can't think of any really worst moments, like something that happened, but I guess like, just the dying of the old and being okay with it. Not a person, but I guess it's kind of similar to yours, because it's not a person, but and similar to the control thing, where I just felt like a lot of things that I had been building that I thought that I couldn't stop building, even though the passion had died. I was scared to let them go because it's like all I know. And so it's like how a lot of people feel about leaving their jobs that maybe they're not so into anymore. Maybe other things would be more fulfilling for them, but that's all they know. So they stay because it's comfortable and it's too hard to leave. And I felt that. And then I just kind of felt this melting away of the old, and it was scary, but also the unknown and like the thrill of it reignited like the adventure part of life for me. Like the part that spark, that like joy, and that like living for like the wonder and curiosity of life, and like what's next, we don't know. Like that's like the fun part, even though it's the scary part too, but it's like the fun part. And like if you knew exactly what was going to happen in your life, it wouldn't be that fun.
No way.
Like that's like, it's just like playing poker. You want to win your hand right, and like when you have a really good hand, it really fucking sucks to get drawn out on when someone like hits something on the river.
No one
and
knows what drawn out means.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Okay, so if like I have like maybe I have a 3 of a kind, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking win this hand and get as much money in the middle as possible, and then someone hits a flush on the river, but they shouldn't have called. It's like, it sucks. I wish that shouldn't have happened, and I'm mad. But when you think of it in a broader scope, it's like, if you knew you were going to win, or what hands you were going to win each time, and there was no variance at all, like you knew you were going to win that hand each time, then it takes away the fun. Like you really don't have the losing the hand in a frustrating way, in a way that surprises you. The surprise is still part of the fun part.
So it's like you got drawn out on. Just say that.
I got drawn out on. Everyone knows that.
Just say that.
See, everyone knows that.
Fuck's sakes. No, that's good. That's great.
No, thanks. Yeah, like a lot of poker stuff happened this year. So
yeah, what's your obsession with poker?
It's random.
What's your obsession with poker, really?
Really, just
what's it really about? Don't lie to the audience.
Don't bluff the audience.
Yeah, don't lie.
It's just so fun for me.
Yeah,
and it's fun. The skill aspect of it, the learning the game, the complexity of the game. I really respect the complexity of the game. It's just, there's so many aspects to it, whether you're into the technical math side of it or the psychology aspect of it, or if you're like me, and I've always liked both things. I like math and I like psychology, and then bankroll, like management. I just feel like it's all of my things that I've worked on in different parts of my life combined into one that's a game. So you're playing. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like playing, and you're working on a skill. And it's a game that's more complex than chess. No AI can beat a human at No Limit Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
Yet.
No Deep Blue, no IBM computer.
No, and I just think there's so many aspects of it that fascinate me. You can never stop learning. Like you can never stop evolving in that game. Like you continue to evolve forever. And there's always elements changing and people getting better at certain things, and like the game changes in so many ways over the years. It's just fascinating to me. I really like it, and I got just heavily more into it this year. And also I feel like it helped me in life with decision making and risk management and just a lot of elements of it you could apply to life.
All bullshit. Aren't you just a degenerate gambler now?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I moved to Vegas. That was my whole plan all along.
Cool. Made it really easy for us to brand you.
You know what's so funny though is that like we planned on moving to Vegas like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
And now we're, like the timing of it,
it's
being here,
actually epic.
When I'm like I've been playing poker every night for the past like 5 months.
Yeah. Dude, we haven't even been here for 3 nights, and I already hit the crypto all-time high in our portfolio. Like
amazing.
That's like it's like you're saying, the timing is just
because we'll explain the original reason of moving to Vegas or considering to move to Vegas was to save on capital gains tax.
Save on capital gains tax with my crypto cash out plan, which I was mentioning 3.5 years ago at JK Party with the boys, and I got everyone geared towards moving to Vegas, which is why Bart moved to Vegas. Like everyone's gonna move to Vegas like sooner than you guys all think, I promise you, because everyone wants to cash out in Vegas because the fucking California state taxes are wild.
Yeah, Vegas or Texas.
Damn right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Vegas has a better case because it's a 45-minute plane ride to LA or whatever
absolutely.
you want to do. Yeah.
And we're just familiar with it.
Exactly. And we like it. We love Vegas. We used to come to Vegas 4 times a year.
And people are like, it's different living there than it is being tourist. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, it's better.
Speaking of my grandma, she's the only member of my family that lived here. And she used to try to talk everyone into moving to Vegas. And she lived here and she loved it.
She was a genius.
And all my other family members were like, it's gross out there. It's like hot. And it is. I mean, we haven't lived through a summer here. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be complacent or cocky about it, but
we lived in the valley.
The valley is really hot. We're not unused to
prohibitively hot.
I will say it's much drier here and it takes some adjusting, but humidifiers are a good thing. But we actually stayed with our friends Chad and V for a week just to feel what it would feel like to actually live here and not just be a tourist. And we stayed at their house in Summerlin. And we went to the restaurants and the grocery stores and the places that you would go if you lived here.
We didn't go to the strip
and we drove around the neighborhoods and we loved it.
Yep. And we loved it even more now that we live here. So that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
And I have not had a problem acclimating to the dryness here.
I've had less of a problem than I thought I was going to have.
It's been nothing for me.
When we were closing the house here, I had a terrible problem.
Yes.
I was dying.
Yes.
But
I think
then
you had bronchitis, but yeah.
I don't think I had bronchitis.
Well, you sounded like it.
Yeah, sure. It wasn't COVID, but I think it was a mixture of the temperature drop because it drops more drastically, and there's no moisture in the air, so there's not like a padding around it.
Yes.
And so it was just hard for my body to adjust with that. But I do feel like now that we've been here for a week. And because we came in intervals during the escrow process, I'm adjusting way better than I thought. And I was scared about how the cats were going to adjust to it. Me too. And they are having the time of their life. They're partying.
I've never seen them get along like this.
They're partying way harder than we are.
We have 4 cats, guys, and they love each other.
I thought they'd be tired and drained from moving. I thought they'd be scared. They fucking love it here.
If there were different war tribes, like Mama and Joe were on different like fucking sides of the fucking atmosphere.
These are cats. Okay. For people that didn't.
Mama and Joe during this, they have the similar personalities.
Yeah.
They like found each other through this.
Yeah.
And like they've been buds.
They're like group trauma.
Yeah, group trauma buddies. Like support therapy.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious. I'm so glad we moved here. It's crazy. I really can't emphasize enough. And I do sound like I'm trying to recruit people into a cult, but I really do wish everyone could just
everyone in Vegas is like, don't bring more Californians over here. I know. So we're not trying to recruit you, but I just am really happy. And I think I've always had a little bit of trouble accepting happiness. Like that I deserve it, or that like
that you don't deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. That I've had a problem accepting that, or like sometimes I'm like, I got to work way harder to prove that I do that I earned this or whatever. And it's like I never just go, thank you, and receive it, you know. And so this year I've just been really, trying to work on that, and my therapist has helped a lot. I think the going back to therapy this year has really helped, and I've really had my eyes open to how much emotional and mental well-being actually affects so many aspects of my life. Because when that's not being taken care of, it doesn't really matter. Nothing else matters because I'm not as efficient anyway.
Yeah.
And so I can be like so productive or whatever, think I'm being productive because I'm not stopping working, but I'm burning myself out to a crisp. And then I can't work for like a month because I'm so burnt out. And
exactly.
And that's what happens. And so she's helped a lot with that. And also some PTSD trauma stuff that I had that I didn't realize I was still like really holding on to, like where the panic attacks were kind of rooted in. And then on top of that, getting diagnosed with ADHD, which I haven't really gotten into a lot because there's still a big stigma around it. And I didn't want to be a mouthpiece about it without, really learning, but it made so many things fall into place for me where
it was the biggest help I think you've had this year.
I cried so much because it just out of happiness, because it all made sense.
Yeah.
Like so many parts of my childhood made sense. So many parts of why I am the way I am, the things I would beat myself up on right now. Like now I'm like, oh, that's just because my brain works differently. I used to get so mad at how scatterbrained I was that I couldn't just focus on one thing and then I would hyper focus on one thing forever, and then I forget all this other stuff that I had to do.
I remember
and it
I
was
used to
so
yell at you about it.
frustrating.
I'd be like, stop being so fucking scatterbrained. Remember that?
Yeah, I used to yell at me.
Yeah, I would scream at you about it.
My dad actually did.
I know. I'm sorry.
And like there was because I cried in one session with my therapy that all my life I've been told I'm really smart because academically I was getting straight A's and I'm really smart. I can learn things very easily.
You're whip smart.
But then I also was being called very dumb all the time, like so stupid, because I would lock the keys in the car and my dad would be like, don't lock the keys in the car this time. And I would fucking lock the keys in the car, and I would feel like the dumbest piece of shit person on earth. Like, how am I so fucking stupid?
No, it's the opposite.
And that's just like,
it's actually the opposite. Real quick.
Yeah.
Because I know you. It's the opposite in such a huge way that I can't even believe nobody saw that. But like, you do that because you're hyperactively thinking about something else.
Yeah.
So you're just autopiloting something. And this is why, not to dunk a little bit, but to dunk. Sometimes Nikki's like, hey, can you get my phone for me? Hey, honey, can you get my phone for me? And I'm like, sure. And I'm like, where is it? And she's like, it's downstairs on the coffee table. And I'll go downstairs. I'll look by the coffee table. And then I'm like, I got to be extra sure it's not by the coffee table. Because if it's by the coffee table and I come upstairs and I go, it's not by the coffee table, and she goes downstairs and she finds it, I'm fucked. It's over. But I have it down to a science now where I'll be like, no, it's not. I'll be like, it's got to be right by you, because the only place it could be is right by you. But this is what happens to you because you overthink something and you're thinking about something else.
Yeah.
You actually just forget that you were holding it like even 35 seconds ago.
Literally happened today. I had my phone in my hand.
Exactly.
And I got a massage today, and they have you put your phone and everything to the side. And so I gathered all my things, and at the end I was like, do you know where my phone went? Like, my phone's gone now. Did you put it somewhere? And it's in my hand. It was in my hand. And she's like, is it that your phone in your hand?
Oh my
and I'm
God.
like, oh my God, I'm so dumb.
Dude,
like,
that masseuse.
I'm so dumb.
I wish her and I could talk for 30 minutes.
Yeah. And it wasn't accusing her of anything either. She was like,
no,
oh, it's okay. She was like,
it feels that way though.
Yeah, it does.
Because we're just trying to help you find the thing.
Yeah, but I'm just like trying to find the thing.
But you're very matter of fact, which is totally fine. And by the way, I accept you as you are. There's no criticism here. It's just fucking hilarious because I'm like, dude, if I don't fucking cross every I and dot every T.
Cross every I, please.
No. And if I don't underline every single fucking N,
yeah,
I'm about to get wrecked. But that's what I'm saying. Like it's just funny how that works. Because, you're just thinking about other things and you don't even realize.
Yeah. And then like other dumb things like common sense stuff I get wrong. Or like I say words wrong because I read them more than I say them. So
yeah, but also, too, to her incredible credit, I can't even tell you how many times I've brought her into a friend group, for example, and she's like, "Hey, I don't know about these guys," and I'm like, "What?" And like 6 months later, I'm like, "Dude, Nikki, you're a fucking legend, bro! Like you nailed this shit.
Yeah,
you've done it like every time.
It's the intuition thing.
It's creepy.
It helps with poker.
It's creepy.
Yeah, that's why people thought I cheated at Mafia.
I know.
Or they thought I cheated at Salem.
Dude, no, you're good. But you're good. You got the fucking juice.
But yeah, I have been a couple times. I've misread people in the opposite way, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
So the therapy thing really helped because she helped just put things into perspective of what like how I've been identifying myself. And like she said, like I was identifying myself by the labels that other people put on me, and like it's true, and we all do that. And so whatever you were told you were in childhood over and over, and so it was such a weird dichotomy for me because I was told both things, that like you're so super smart and you're so super dumb. And I'm like, I never know what it is. That's why I beat myself up so much when I do something dumb because I don't know how it happens. And then with the ADHD thing, it's like, oh, I wasn't okay. I'm not dumb. It's just that my brain does it differently.
Yeah, you're hyperactively focused on something else.
Yeah. And then also socially, like I just miss certain social cues sometimes.
Yes, you do.
Where I just completely like think something's acceptable, and then I feel the tone in the room change, and I'm like, what did I say? I did something. I fucked up. What did I say? I don't know.
You flash your tits, honey. People don't do that.
Like a lot of how my family shows love is by roasting people.
Oh,
like,
me too.
If you get a good roast in, it's it means that you know me enough to get a good roast in, and so it feels like we're closer. And so a few times I went too far where I thought I made a fucking great roast. Like it was like I just fucking hit it, and it's so funny, and because it's so true, but also in a funny way. And it's not like a knock on them. It's just like, I know you so well that this like, and they didn't have it, and it was bad, and I felt awful because I just thought we were connecting so well.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun ride.
Sounds like a blast.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess that's it. Those are the shit they don't tell you in 2021.
I love it.
Kind of learned and grew from, and hopefully we'll to learn and grow more.
We're doing
this is like such a 180 from where we were last year. This is I feel like my entire world is completely different right now than it was last year, and in an exciting way. And I don't know what's going to happen, but that's the fun part.
The fact that we're filming this right now, and for example, right now, I can actually get up and walk out of this room without probably taking a fucking tripod with me is insane.
Yeah. This will eventually be our podcast room.
Yes. But it's wild how big this is compared to how small it was.
Yeah.
Where there was no space. You couldn't even breathe. You had to to
you
walk
couldn't
by a tripod. And
it was like stuffed in my little office that also had a desk and a huge daybed in it.
Brutal.
It was really hard to fit all the cameras and lights.
We're so thankful to all you guys. We couldn't have done any of this without you guys. We thank you guys to the moon and back.
Thank you so much.
Good Lord. You've changed our lives forever.
Also, just like hearing stories from you guys of, because we never know if we're just shouting into air. And then like on the, some of the Q&As saying, people are like, I took your advice 2 years ago.
Yes.
And
it's insane.
And now it's really worked out for me. And it's like, wow, that feels good to know that my mistake that I made, that I learned from, that then I could help you, prevent you from making the same mistake.
Or even
actually
tonight, I was expressing frustration with a Crypto Corner friend who I was like, man, they asked me, they're like, you must feel really good because you've helped a lot of people win, like all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, but I always think about like the people that got left behind, like people in my own family, people where I'm like, they didn't do it. And then this person goes, hey, I want you to screenshot a picture of my portfolio here. And you show them that I'm a millionaire now because I was on Crypto Corner. And I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, this is like crazy. Like that you got there.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to even think that like, you're a person, you're out there in the world and like, you're like, you did that.
Yeah.
Like, people are looking at you and going, holy shit, did what? You're worth what now? And that this person goes like, yeah, I did this thing called Crypto Corner with the fucking YouTube comedian. I listened to a YouTube comedian about crypto. Like, it's fucking amazing, man. I'm just so proud of
risk management.
I'm so happy for everybody, man. It's
too.
great. I'm so happy for everybody.
You should be proud.
It's insane. I can't even thank anybody enough. I really can't. They all thank me the whole time. If you're in there, they'll all thank me. But I promise you,
don't be a pussy.
I thank you even more because I spent years just trying to help people win and being very disappointed in my own circle and my own family because they all chose to make fun instead. And, people who you could argue are strangers instead give you so much love when people who are your own family don't. I just appreciate you guys so much. You have no idea. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. The kinds of just the things that people are saying. It's like I don't deserve any of it.
No, you do. That's awesome, honey. Do you see what you did? You made my fucking husband cry. You feel good? Feel good about that?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
God. Supposed to be a man when I'm not showing any emotions, you know?
Mean bitch.
Yeah.
Not very Richard P. Miller of him, is it?
Well, that's beautiful. Dude, you're getting a taste of what happens, which is they don't tell you after dark.
There you go.
Steve Green opening up.
It's hard.
Yeah, that's even something that happened, I think, within the past year.
That's true.
Past year and a half.
Being completely closed off for
emotionally.
Four-wall environment. Yeah. For sure. Anyway, all right. We got to go.
Okay. Well, I love you.
I love you, baby. She's the best, guys.
We love you.
Nobody comes better than this one. There's nobody more supportive than this one. That's not
true. This one right here.
Oh, man.
Usually I'm the one that cries. So if he's crying, I'm not allowed to cry. So I'm not crying just for that. But I could and then he'd have to stop because only one can cry at a time.
That's true. Should tell Mark to edit it out, and he actually would. It's a weird thing that happens.
Mark, don't edit that shit out. That's views right there.
See, he listens to her.
In fact, title this Steve Green cries on camera.
That's not the first. We'll be fine.
All right, guys. Well, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy holidays. Hope you had a great 2021. 2021 was weird as fuck. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is weird as fuck year in the world. But like, I hope you like internally, like maybe could find your moments that maybe like helped you for your life, that maybe you thought something was terrible that happened and it turned around, or it's about to turn around, or just know that like everything timing wise happens when it's supposed to. So yeah, we love you guys. And thanks for another year with Shit They Don't Tell You.
Thank you, everybody.
This is our third year. Wow.
Goodbye.
2021.